going all in, getting flued out, yeah, you can bring a friend. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in your toes. Let the rhythm take control. It's going down tonight, yeah. Dive right in, let's go. Move forward and dip in.
Hey guys, what's going on, everybody? This is Dane from NyynewsTV. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Heat Sheet Podcast. Carlos, how you doing today, buddy?
Good. How you doing today, Dane?
Good. So the second half started, and we wanted to jump in with some really exciting news after some hitters struggled this first half. We have seen some big improvements with Jason and Spencer Jones in the last couple of weeks. Why don't you tell us about that?
Well, I think for me, the most exciting has to be Jason. He looks like he's finally hitting.
Yeah, he does.
Before last night, he was up to about 357, I think. But on the month, he's at 327, 417 on base with 917 OPS, 2 extra base hits, 2 home runs, 7 stolen bases. So, it looks like he's got some rhythm going right now.
That's really nice. And he has, 5 out of his last 6 or 7 games have been multi-hit games as well.
Yep, correct.
So that's a really good sign for him. Like he's finally making some contact consistently. He's being a little more aggressive. But the really exciting thing for me is Spencer Jones.
Yeah.
That strikeout rate has come down to about 20% for the month. I mean, that doesn't do anything for the year, but for the month, that's a big improvement.
Yeah, considering at one point I remember he was up to around 34%, so that is a tremendous improvement.
Yeah. And what's he hitting this month? I think I read 2 days ago. It was like
he's at 324 with a 465 on base, 994 OPS, extra base hit, 2 home runs. I think he's had back-to-back games with home runs.
Yeah,
the last 2 games.
Yeah, one was in the 8th inning late, and then one was early in the game, but it doesn't matter where they were. That he's making hard contact and not striking out is a big deal.
Yeah. It's definitely been good to see that from him because, like I said, for a while he was just struggling there and you didn't know what was going on. He was striking out a lot. So it looks like he's reeled it in a bit. Yeah.
Do you think either of them see the next level this year, or do you think that they stay at the level they're at?
As for going with Spencer first, I don't think so. I would be surprised if that's the case for him, namely because he has struggled for long stretches at several times during the season so far. So I mean I can't see that happening for him this year. I think they would probably want him to stay down there a little bit longer and work on making more contact and try to keep that strikeout that K rate down.
I'm hoping that if he keeps that K rate down for 2, 3, 4 weeks, that maybe he could see the end of the season in AA, kind of like Jason did last year. And maybe Jason will go up to AAA. Because I think those two are probably dependent on each other. But that brings us into another interesting topic that we want to discuss. With Harrison Bader out, who do we think is going to go up?
It would probably, I would say, I mean, I would hope it's Florial, but he's in the doghouse for some reason that no one knows why, or no one can answer why. The only other guy would be the only other man on the 40-man, which is Everson. It would be a bold move, but he is already on the 40-man. He played well when he's been on the field, so probably in any other organization, it would probably make sense.
I think that he's got to go up and be your left fielder for the rest of the year. It doesn't make sense to go out and acquire big assets that aren't long-term pieces at this point, at least for me.
I mean, and I think we've seen this from the Yankees where I feel like they make trades just to make trades. It's pretty much to just appease fans because they don't really, in the long term of things, it doesn't really seem to make sense. Like for me, I don't see why I would trade for a lifetime 240 hitter as opposed to giving one of my prospects a shot and seeing if he can't do any better, right? Because it costs me nothing to do that.
Especially when, are you talking about Grichuk or Donovan?
I'm talking, well, in this case, I'm talking about Carlson.
Oh,
He's like a
Carlson.
lifetime.
Okay.
He's like a lifetime 245 hitter. I know some people say, "Oh, he gets on base and things like that," but for that, I would rather try Everson. For that, I would rather give Florial a shot. Give him these last 2 months or so and see what he can do. If it doesn't work out over the next, let's say, 150 at bats or whatever it is, then when they cut ties with Florial and let's just stop playing this game of where he's mashing down there at AAA. And then the story is, well, he can't hit major league pitching, but you're not giving him the consistent opportunity to prove that.
No, the Athletic wrote an article on Flow last week, and it brought up a great point. Left field on both sides of the ball has been horrible for the Yankees all year. And Florial had a great season last year. He's having an even better season this year. And he's still sitting in AAA. What are we doing?
We've heard the excuses from the front office that, they would have to open up a roster spot or someone would have to go. I mean, like, really? Are you really holding on to Billy McKinney for some long-term reason? Who else?
Willie
anyone
or Willie Calhoun.
Willie Calhoun or anyone, Greg Allen. Really, these are the guys that you're going to keep up here just so you don't to not see what Florial can do for you with consistent at bats. Again, I'm not saying he's going to be a superstar. I don't think he's what he, I don't think he's going to be. I'm not saying he's going to be an all-star. I'm saying let's see what he can do. I mean, we've seen this before where Yankees were in the past where Yankees have had prospects that they didn't want to give a shot to, and then they were thrust into it. Like, for example, Robinson Cano. Robinson Cano was the guy that the Yankees were trying to give away, and they couldn't until finally when Tony Womack was sucking it up, and they're like, "Shit, we don't have any other choice. Let's throw Robinson out there." And what do you know? He becomes a perennial all-star.
Becomes one of the best second basemen in the last 25 years.
In my opinion, he's the best second baseman since Robbie Alomar.
I agree. There's no argument for me there.
And again, it's not. I'm not saying he's going to be Florial's going to be an all-star. I don't think. I'm saying he's been consistent for the last 2 years, and this year he's improved. He's been improving for the last 2 seasons. This year he's showing a more improvement. He's taking another step forward. Let's see what he can do with consistent at playing time. That's it. That's all most Yankee fans are saying. And I've also been seeing this in in Yankee Twitter where people are saying, "Well, Yankee fans want all-stars at every position." That's not the case. Yankee fans want to see somebody who cares. They want to see people who going all out every single play matters to them. That's what they want to see. They want to see players on the field who care about the outcome. They don't want to see guys who are just going through the motions day in and day out. And that doesn't mean that I want an all-star. Give me a damn prospect. I prefer a prospect as to a free agent any day of the week.
I do too. Well, unless the free agent is Garrett Cole or...
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about like one of these reclamation projects.
100%.
These Grichuk type trades. Like, I'd rather see a prospect at that opportunity. I mean, there's a reason you have a farm system. Let's start using it.
And then that jumps into another thing that we heard last week about them looking for a catcher.
Yeah, when I saw that, I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me?"
Oh my gosh!
I was like, "Yo, what would Rortvet be thinking when he sees something like that?" I mean, down there at Scranton, you have Rortvet, you have Narvaez, you have Duran. Behind them, you have Wells. Like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
They have 7 catchers between AA and AAA, and 2 more on the major league roster. And they're looking for a catcher. Narvaez has been really good all year on both sides of the ball, as has Rortvet. I mean, if you don't like your major league catching group, let's give those 2 guys a shot. They're both hitting well over 260.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing with Narvaez is he played very well in spring training. I think he showed a lot. He took every single opportunity of the fact that, that Higgy wasn't there, that Wells was hurt, and he showed the Yankees something. The Yankees liked him. He's having his best season this year. He was promoted from AA to AAA, and this is a guy who he hadn't. I don't think he had been above 8 ball, and he skipped from AA to AAA now, and he's playing well. He's holding his own. I think he's batting 3rd right now for Scranton.
He is.
The last time I saw, so it doesn't make sense to me. It's just another thing that just doesn't make any sense to me. You have 3 guys at Scranton, any one of those 3 guys, and we've talked about this before. You have You have Rortvet, you have Narvaez, and you also have Duran. If Duran isn't part of your long-term plans, then you should have gotten rid of him. He's been in the system for over 2 years. His stock was high. Why wouldn't you have traded him and try to get something else? Or try to cash in on that and get something of value for him? Get another a younger pitching prospect down in DSL, FCL, in low A, in single A. It's like, take these opportunities that are given to you. He's not in your long-term plans. Let's move on and let's let other people have these opportunities.
And that brings us to another thing that happened last week was promotions. We saw Glenn Rice got promoted, another catcher up to AA.
Yeah, Ben Rice was a very good hitter on OBP machine. He debuted last night, went 2 for 5, by the way.
Right. And we still have Austin Wells sitting in AA, who has nothing left to prove at that level.
He does not.
And then we saw some guys moved up, but the two obvious candidates to me are Jared Serna and Drew Thorpe, and they didn't get the bump. And we have kids in the FCL that need to go up. Yep,
definitely agree. There's a clog in the pipeline, and it seems like the Yankees aren't really doing anything about it. You have to clear up spaces. I mean, we could go from the top down. To me, Higgy's you're not going to re-sign him. He's making almost $2 million this year. I think he's making like $1.5, $1.6 million. That's an area where you can cut costs by bringing up, let's say, Rortvet or one of these other guys at Scranton. He's not part of your long-term plans. I get it that maybe he's a fan favorite because he hits a home run like every 3 weeks or something like that.
Dude, the fans are turned on. He had 3 or 4 pass balls last night. It's not pretty behind the plate with him anymore.
I mean, I always laugh because you got rid of Gary Sanchez because you thought Higgy was going to be the answer. That's what you wanted. And
no, they thought Rortvet was going to be an answer.
Well, they eventually traded for Rortvet, but Higgy was supposed to be the replacement to Gary. So it just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense for the clogs that are in the system. And to me, they start at the top. You didn't open up one hole, Babe Ruth and the forces that be opened it up by the Josh Donaldson injury, forced Peraza into the big league. So you have that opening.
If it wasn't for that case.
Of course not. Of course not. No, we would still be talking about why is he at Scranton. But now you have to make a decision at the catching spot. You're not happy with Trevino's offense, which is almost non-existent, pretty much an automatic out. Higgy, as you told me, has already been a major disappointment. He's making a lot of money for a defensive catcher or for a backup catcher. Move one of these guys. Move one of these guys and move one of your guys that are right behind. Either that or move one of the guys that are behind them, and then that way you can get the ball rolling. Austin Wells should already be in AAA. This shouldn't even be up for debate, and it just goes right along. We can go through pretty much every single position, especially in the middle infields, and we have the same exact issues. Now that Peraza's up in the bigs, I hope he stays there all season long. We could talk about maybe moving Sweeney up and so on and so forth, right? Because down in Tampa, Jared Serna needs to go up. He should have been up months ago.
I think that he's destroying that level.
Yes. I think he's being blocked by Cowles and by Alexander Vargas, who's just a top IFA for the Yankees. I don't know what they're going to do with him. But that shouldn't stop. That shouldn't stop the flow in the pipeline, right? These guys aren't producing. Jared Serna is. Let's move him up and let's see what he can do. Because behind him, now you have to move someone else up, right? Because your number one pick is a shortstop. You have Roderick Arias sitting in FCL. He has to go up. And then to me, the best hitter in the first half of the season in the entire organization was probably Emmanuel Tejada. He's probably should be moved up as well. And then you have Connor Delgado, who should also be moved up. So you have those 3 middle infielders who should be moved to Tampa, but they can't move from Tampa because you still have Jared Serna there, who's blocking them, who's being blocked at Hudson by Cowles and by Vargas. It just doesn't make sense.
No, it's got to change. It's absolutely got to change, or they're going to stall and maybe set back their development. And if you look at the other systems in baseball, they're moving all their prospects up as fast as they can. Even the successful teams. Baltimore's in first place now, and they can't call up prospects quick enough.
Yeah. I mean it's some of these things have been pretty crazy. I think it's the Angels. They already have like 3 or 4 kids they drafted last season at the bigs already. I don't, and there's one other team that I believe already has like 3 kids that they drafted that they took in the last draft class, and they're already up in the bigs. I don't know what the holdup is. I know that over the last 3 years, over the last 10 years, the Yankees have been one of the top teams as far as moving people up. But I don't know what's been going on over the last couple of years, over the last few years, which you and I have spoken about. This is probably the best job that they've done in terms of draft and in the international free agent market.
It's not even close. They have done so well in those two areas the last 4 or 5 years. And we have so much talent in the lower levels, but it's all being clogged. Like you said, there's problems in that system that have to be fixed, or they're going to screw up this talent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's frustrating. So let's jump into AAA. Let's review that week. It was a short week, but
Mm-hmm. It was a short week. I had Andres Chaparro was my player of the week down there. He had 385, 1154 OPS, 2 extra base hits, a home run, 3 RBIs. And this is one of the things that I want to discuss as far as each of the levels. You know, Chaparro is a Rule 5 guy. So what do you think the long-term things or plans are for him? Is he even in the plans for the Yankees at all? Or he's just sitting there to be a trade piece for them?
I don't know. I thought the perfect opportunity to give Chaparro a chance was when G was out for a month, and they didn't. He made a great play at third base last night, but he's really not a plus or even a good defender usually. So he's a DH.
I mean, I agree with you. I thought definitely when Stanton was out that was the perfect opportunity to get him up and see if he can provide some offense because, like, you know, we've all seen he has an explosive bat. He's pretty much since he had that bad start, he's been a consistent hitter. I think he's now 3rd in the organization in home runs with, I want to say 18. I have to double check that. But 18. Yeah, but, you know, here's a guy who can provide you with instant offense. And we saw how well he did in spring training. So, like I said, like you've said before, it was a perfect opportunity to give him a shot.
And we need offense to the major league level. I don't know what the problem would be giving him some reps towards the end of the year. We can't score anyway. How much worse can we be by bringing up prospects? Seriously. I think the team gets better if you bring up Florial, Herrera, Chaparro, and I mean, even if you want to put Chaparro at first base because Rizzo is having a horrible time.
Oh my God, he's been a shell of himself since Tatis ran into him. So he's going on like almost 2 months.
Concussion or an injury. He hasn't hit a home run since.
Yeah.
So who else had a good week at AAA?
You had Jesus Bastidas, 286, 375, a home run. He's another Rule 5 guy. He's another guy that also skipped a level. He's been pretty good at every single level that he's played at. You have Carlos Narvaez, who also had a good week. He also hit 286, 1232 OPS, a home run, 2 RBIs, and another Rule 5 guy. And the only pitcher who did anything down there this week was Clayton Beeter, who hadn't pitched in over 2 weeks, and I think he threw maybe 20, 25 pitches in the Futures game. But he threw 4 and a third shutout innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts.
I was wondering if the layoff is why he didn't go as long as he usually does.
Yeah, I think he was capped at about 75 pitches.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
So
let's jump to AA.
At AA, you had Jason Dominguez. He hit over 600 this week, 1792 OPS, an extra base hit, home run, 4 RBIs, 3 walks, a stolen base. We've already talked about his July numbers. He's pretty hot this month. He's done this month what most people expected him to be doing all season long, but you know, it is what it is. But I mean, we're here now and he's playing well this month, so let's see if he can keep it going.
Anybody else at AA?
TJ Rumfield hit 417, 3 extra base hits, 2 RBIs. Trey Sweeney had a good week as well, 317, 879 OPS, 3 RBIs. Elijah Dunham, who's back at Somerset, hit 333, 2 extra base hits, 2 stolen bases. On the pitching front, you had Chase Hampton, who was my pitcher of the week, 5 and a third, 2 runs, 3 walks, 7 Ks. Edgar Barclay came and piggybacked. I don't think it was off of his game, but
No, it was Gomes' game. He pitched 6 innings.
yes. He went 5 innings, 6 strikeouts,
Oh yeah,
2 runs, and Yoendries threw 2 1/3, gave up 1 run with 5 Ks. Probably his best start this season.
yeah, I thought so.
Mhm.
I'd like to see Barkley get a shot sometime if they're going to sell. I mean,
Mhm.
he's probably one of the better left-hand relievers in the upper levels. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, he's putting up the numbers. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And he's also by the way, he's also one of those Rule 5 guys that they have to make a decision on. I
Isn't
mean,
TJ
it's
as well?
Rumfield?
Yeah. No, he's
No,
not.
no, he's not.
No, you're right.
No, I mean, I think there's about 14 guys I would say that they need to make a decision on. Either protect them, make a trade, or they're gonna have to find a spot for them.
Augustus Ramirez and Cerna on
He's
that
one of
list
them.
too, and they have to protect those two.
Yeah, Barclay's on that list. Chaparro's on that list. Bastidas is on that list. Narvaez is on that list. Yeah, there's a few guys that they have to make some sort of move on. And these are typically the guys that Cashman likes to trade from. So Corello's on the list, by the way. Yuli as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. I think a couple of those guys get moved, unfortunately, but I don't know what you move them for,
Mhm.
unless it's for other
More projects,
prospect.
more lower level
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah. So high A, we already talked about Spencer Jones.
Hmm I had Augustine Ramirez as my player of the week. He hit 583, 1,500 OPS, 4 extra base hits. The guy's just like a double machine down there.
Yeah, he is.
3 RBIs. You also had Rafael Flores. He hit 333, 929 OPS. He homered yesterday. Had an RBI, a walk, 2 extra base hits last week. Grant Richardson was another guy who had a pretty big week, 333, a home run, 2 RBIs. And my pitcher of the week down there was Drew Thorpe, where he threw 7 innings, 3 runs, 10 strikeouts, and that was against one of the better teams down there, which is Bowling Green.
Yeah. And why he's still in high A.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me because he's just pretty much cruising through the entire league.
And they also got another rotation reinforcement in Brock this week.
That's right. Brock Selvage was promoted, which I thought was well earned or deserved
Yes.
on his part. He had been playing very well at Tampa, so I'm excited. We're going to get to see him a lot more often. As far as as far as Tampa goes, they're usually we're streamed 2 series a season. This year they're not getting any stream, so there's like almost no videos of Brock.
Yeah. So who else in high A did anything? Anybody?
That's pretty much it.
None of the relievers had real good weeks.
No, none of them. None of the big relievers had a good week. I think they had a one rain out, 1 or 2 rainouts. I think happened for them
that
this
makes
week.
sense.
That's probably why.
So Tampa.
At Tampa, I have Jared Turner, who was my player of the week. He hit 357, 1,400 OPS, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. Monster week for him.
Yeah, he's what, second in the system, third in the system in home runs with Chaparro.
Tied for third now. Yeah, 18.
Yeah,
He's tied for
I mean,
he's 18. His 18 home runs are tied for third in the system as far as home runs, and he's second in RBIs to Chaparro.
and he's still
I think he has 61 RBIs. Chaparro has 62.
Yeah. Why? Anyway, we've already talked about that. Sorry, it just drives me absolutely nuts. Who else?
It doesn't make any sense. Well, you have Brock Selvage. He had a good week down there before the promotion. 5 1/3, 1 run, 7 Ks. You had Cole Ayers had a good week. 2 innings, 3 strikeouts, no runs. Matt Keating, same thing. And Brock was obviously the pitcher of the week for me down there.
Yeah. Now we get into where the exciting level is.
At the FCL, I had Roderick was my player of the week. He hit 333, 1156 OPS, an extra base hit, 3 RBIs, 6 walks, 3 stolen bases. You also had John Cruz. He hit 357, 3 RBIs, an extra base hit. William Montero hit 308, an extra base hit, 3 RBIs. Kiner Delgado hit 2 home runs, 8 RBIs, 3 stolen bases, 1150 OPS.
There's so much hitting talent at that level.
I mean, it's exciting to see, but I just want to see them to get to the next level, right? Just keep pushing these kids up, and hopefully that comes soon because that draft class is coming in right behind them. I think every one of them but one of the picks is signed so far, so
Yeah,
they have to make some sort of moves.
Rock doesn't look like he's going to sign. They only have like 500 grand to sign him, and then we're thinking he wanted 7 or 8.
Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, but I've also been seeing that unless he can bump his stock up enough, he's not going to get what he wants in the next draft.
No, he's not. He would have to go in the second round to get what he wants. And he'd have to have a heck of a year as a senior
Now,
to get that.
let me ask you, since you know more about the draft than I do. If he doesn't sign, what does that mean for the Yankees? Do the Yankees lose a pick? Do the Yankees get a compensation pick next season?
No, not that late.
SOL.
Yep, we are out of luck on that. Third round, I believe the third round is the last round that you get compensation for.
Okay.
So they're just out on that pick. But they got the kid that they really wanted at the back of the draft, a big two-way player out of high school.
What round was that pick? Was that like the 7th or 11th?
No, 18th round, I think. I forget
Okay.
the kid's name. He's a big 6'8" kid that pitches and plays first base, and he's got the makings of phenomenal stuff. They put him in the gas station. He could end up very much like a Neely, a Daily D's, one of those guys.
Okay.
DSL.
At DSL, I had John Eambert was my player of the week. He hit 500, 625 OBP, 1292 OPS, an extra base hit, an RBI, 2 walks, a stolen base. Actually, no, I'm sorry. He hit 375, 1444 OPS, an extra base hit, a home run, 4 RBI. Actually, I believe it was a grand slam and a walk. And you had Jerson Alejandro, who was the opening pitcher of a no-hitter that they threw this week. I forgot who was behind him. I think it was Orvis Fernandez and Pedro Rodriguez. So he was part of that no-hitter. You had Gabriel Torrero. I really like this kid, man. He hit 500, 1142 OPS, an extra base hit, 2 RBIs, 3 walks, 5 stolen bases. I think he's hitting about 330, 410 on the season. 7 extra base hits, 4 RBIs. So, I mean, this is one of the guys that you definitely want to keep an eye on. He's a switch hitting second baseman. And yes, he's one of those, 5'6" guys, but yeah, he's like he's been really, really good.
Yeah.
He does.
No one's talking about him enough.
Definitely not. No, definitely not. He's looked really, really good from day one.
And
then
our next drop of our top 40 list, he will be in that group, which we'll see tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
And the last guy I want to talk about DSL is Chalian Arias, who last week he had an okay week. He pitched into the 5th inning, gave up 2 earned runs, 5 strikeouts, no walks, which is something you definitely that I definitely love about this guy. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers down in the DSL this year. I was looking at his numbers. Last year, he was mostly a reliever. He pitched 31 innings, 16 walks, and I want to say 41 strikeouts. And he's already surpassed all those numbers.
He looks phenomenal. In the video that we saw this morning, I made a comment that the arm action looks a little bit like Luis Medina, but he's got much, much better control.
Absolutely. Much better control.
Yeah, it's not even comparable. But as he goes up, I could see him adding some velocity and getting upper 90s. It's just that really thin build that you can add onto that frame. He's exciting. And he's also somebody we're going to see on our next list. Yeah.
He's definitely one of the guys that I like to watch down there. Anytime he's on the mound for the Bombers, it's always an exciting day for me. He's always got pretty much just very good outings every time he comes out. So it's always exciting to see him.
Yeah. You got anything else?
No, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. All right. Well, next week you are on vacay, so we're going to miss you that week. But we'll have you back maybe next week.
Yep.
And we'll get after it again.
Definitely.
All right, guys. See you later.
All right, guys. Have a good
Thanks.
one.